Okay, so today we're going to make our animated GIF. First step is we're going to open our first image or the first still frame that you're going to be using. So I've opened up Photoshop. I'm going to my F drive. You should, in your Photo 10 folder, Mod 4, have the photos that you've already taken. So I'm going in my GIF folder. Oops. Going to click here to see my photos. Okay, so this is my first image. I'm going to open my first picture. Okay, now the next step, the easiest way to do this, you can either file place every single thing separately, or if you open up in Windows Explorer in your computer, if you go and open them all up and drag and drop, that's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. So you do need to drag and drop the original image. Okay, so holding down Control on my keyboard, I'm grabbing all of my images. I've also grabbed an image off the internet that I'm going to use as one of my final images, so I'm going to grab that. And all you're going to do is grab, drag. Do you see how there's this white box around there? And now drop. So it's going to take a second, and then I'm just going to click on the check mark to say yes to all of them. Okay, so I now have all of my images in layers. The next step, what we need to do is show the timeline here. If this isn't on the bottom, what you can do in your window is make sure that timeline is checked off. Okay, once that's checked off, what we're going to do is create a video timeline. So I'm going to click here, and what happens is we now have every single one of our layers playing out now on a timeline. Okay, so if I hit play right now, nothing's going to happen. Okay, because on top it has these images and it's not staggered. So what you need to do is you're going to create a staircase with your layers so that we can reveal each one one after another. So if I drag this back down, and if we start at the beginning and I press play, it will go through the images. Okay, now that's not very smooth. For yours, I'd like you to take more images than I have in the example. And I'm going to show you now how, so at the end there, as the T-Rex takes the other dinosaur, I want to have this splatter, but I need to do some editing on here. So I'm going to select all of the red. Okay, and then put in a layer mask so it gets rid of the green. Now I want to make that bigger, so Control T on my keyboard, make it bigger, gonna move it where I want it. Okay. Now, this one I might want it to play for a few of the frames, so I can make the duration a bit longer. So let's see what happens there. So it's probably a little too soon. Okay. So probably only want it for the second frame, so move it. Okay. Can go and look at it. Okay. Now, as you see, it's going on and on at the end and keeps on just showing the last frame. So if you want it to go backwards, you can make it into, so we have a staircase here. If we make it a reverse staircase, everything will go backwards into time and space. Or you can make them all end at the same time. You just don't want it running on forever at the end. Okay, so now if I press play, it'll go backwards. If you don't want that to happen, then they all just need to be in a line so that it all ends at the same time. Now with this, if I wanted to, you could add in text layers that can show up and or shapes, different things that can run for different amounts of time. So if I go and create a text layer, so right now it's really small, so let's make that bigger. So I could give him a speech bubble. Maybe I want to add in a shape. If you go to custom shapes, there's speech bubbles that you can use. Or there should be. There we go. So now if you see here, I have 2 other layers that I can move and place them where I want them to be in my story. So maybe if it's a warning, T-Rex, I want that at the beginning. Okay, and then you're just gonna have to play with the timing and the spacing of these things. Okay, so there is a beginning for how to create your GIF. Now, this needs some work, but I'm going to show you how we want to save this. So when we save it, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to go File, Save for Web. Now our cameras make images that have really high resolution. So we're going to have to change the image size. So right now down here, image size is 5,000 pixels by 3,000 and some pixels. Let's make it 500 instead. What that's going to do is it's going to allow the saving process to be a lot faster. Now, if you want it to loop, which most GIFs do, you need to go down here and click forever. So it's just going to load. So now it's smaller. We can see the whole thing. So right here, you're going to click that, say, loop forever, and then save in the appropriate place.